own research. Talk to professionals in the field about what their recommendations are based off of the products that you're using. These are things that I have found work for me, all right? And me only. I haven't, other people that I know aren't using these. We have two very simple things that can be done really with minimal prep, and they'll have lasting results. So our two projects are going to be a facial toner, and we're going to make a blemish roller. So like acne, spots like that on your face, using some essential oils. All right, before we begin, like always, I do want to remind you, do your own research. Talk to professionals in the field about what their recommendations are based off of the products that you're using. These are things that I have found work for me, all right? And me only. I haven't, other people that I know aren't using these in necessarily the same way. Some are, and I know they are because of where I found the recipes, but you need to do your own research and find out what works for you, all right? So what we're going to do is we'll go ahead and start with our toner today. And you're really not going to need very much stuff. You're going to need a glass jar. If your jar has a metal lid, then you are going to need some parchment paper, like wax paper, just a little square rectangle like this, all right? You're going to need apple cider vinegar. This here is the Kroger brand, so just generic. If you prefer, organic, then you could buy something like Bragg's, anything out there that you think is best, all right? Then you're going to need thyme and dandelion, all right? So this is thyme. I do not have fresh of either, so I am going to use dried, which is fine. I'll tell you ways you can do it for both fresh thyme and fresh dandelion as well as dried. But I'm going to be using this is like culinary thyme, right, that you would use for cooking. All right, so I have this, and I bought this off of Amazon, and this is a large amount here. How many? I don't even know how big this is. I don't see the size on here, but you can see that this is a big size, right? For not that much money, you can go to your local grocery store, pick some up in the spices area. And then I'm also going to be using, I don't know how well you can see it, but I'm going to be using dandelion, okay? So when I say dandelion, yes, I mean the weeds that grow in your yard. A lot of people despise them, don't like them. I love dandelion. Dandelion is actually one of my favorite flowers, or plants really, because the whole plant you can use for a lot of different things. So the flower petals, like the yellow part, I use in dandelion jelly. I have made lip balms. The stem, so that's a little bit of a sweeter taste. You can also fry up the little flower heads, and that's a tasty treat. You can use the stem, the leaf, and the root. That's what you can use in today's recipe. Has a little bit more of a bitter taste, so a lot of people don't necessarily like to just eat that raw, but it does have a lot of medicinal properties. And so if you have a lot of indigestion problems, that's where the root would be really good. Like a dandelion root tea would be really good for indigestion. So research that. It really is an amazing plant. If you are going to, you can buy this, all right, let me preface it with that. You can go out and buy dandelion online. Again, you need to find a reputable place to buy it from, but you can buy it dried. So it'll come in a bag or in a box, and it'll be dried, okay? I actually grow dandelions, and I also have whatever's in the yard, right? If you're going to harvest them from either your yard or someplace around you, you need to make sure that wherever you're getting it from, it's safe, right? Pesticides haven't been used to try to kill them, right? Because whatever you then do with it, you're gonna have that pesticide, and you don't want that, okay? So mine are safe. I collect them and I actually freeze them, and that's a form of drying the herb. So I have that. I'm going to need 1/8 of a cup of dried dandelion, or 1/4 of a cup of fresh. Okay, so I'm going to take off my lid here. I'm going to go ahead and add again 1/8 of a cup of dried dandelion, or 1/4 of a cup of fresh. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and take my thyme. So again, we see I have dried, so I'm going to do 1/8 of a cup of thyme. If I had fresh thyme, this is not working out, hold on. If I had fresh thyme, then I would do 1/4 of a cup. I'm just going to use the different open mouth so it comes out a little bit better. Okay, so I have my 1/8 of a cup of dried thyme. Okay, making a little bit of a mess, but it's all fine. All right, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take 1/2 cup of my apple cider vinegar. So, trying really hard not to make a mess here on camera, right, for you all to see. So there's 1/4 of a cup and another 1/4 to equal 1/2 of a cup of my apple cider vinegar. Okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and take my parchment paper, put it on top. The reason you have to have that is because of the vinegar. All right, if you don't put the vinegar, if you don't put this parchment paper in between the vinegar and the metal lid, then it'll corrode the metal. They do sell lids for jars like these that are plastic, so if you have one of those and pop it on, you don't need that parchment paper. Okay, I'm gonna give it a little bit of a swish here, and you can see that. All right, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put this in a dark space. So I have a shelf in our spare room closet. I'm going to put it up there. It's dark and it's cool, and I'm going to leave this sit for 4 to 6 weeks. Okay, once this has sat for that amount of time, so 4 to 6 weeks is over, I'm going to strain out all of the dried herbs. All right, so I'm going to get rid of the thyme, I'm going to get rid of the dandelion. Okay, and then what I'll have left is my infused vinegar. All right, and here's the important part. You then want to take 1/2 cup to a cup of water and add it to your jar. All right, so my skin's a little bit more sensitive, so I'm going to go on the side of caution, right? So I will add 1 cup of water to my jar. Give it a nice little mix again, and I'll be ready to use it. All right, use a cotton ball, dip it in, and then apply it to my face after I've washed. You can also add 1 to 2 teaspoons of honey if you would like a little added, moisturizer to it. So after you strain out your herbs here, you add your water. You can add 1 to 2 teaspoons of honey. Get it all nice mixed in, and then again, just apply it the same, and then I'll add a little bit of moisturizer right to your face, a natural way with that honey. Okay, that is it. I love this mixture. I think it works really well. The dandelion and thyme, with the 2 of those things, it really helps with acne prevention. I don't use this every day. You can, right? Let me back up. When I first started using it, I used it every single day. But then I just use it when I feel like I'm getting ready to break out, or when I start seeing, a few acne spots, then I'll go ahead and make sure I use it, and it really does help clear it up. Okay, so I really like this toner. The one warning I will give you, again from personal experience, I was not expecting the strong smell. We know what vinegar smells like. It's not necessarily pleasant. When you mix in that thyme, especially, dandelion doesn't have much of a smell, but when you mix in that thyme and then you let that infuse, it has a very, very strong smell. all right? I put it on my face and then I go around people and nobody's like can smell it afterwards, but when I open up that jar, it's strong, all right? So that's my little tip there. All right, so next what we're gonna do is we are going to do our Blemish roller. Again, this you can use if you have acne or spots on your face, that type of thing. So what we're going to need is a roller bottle. And if you buy them new and unused, they're gonna come in different parts. We have the actual bottle, we have that roller part of it, and then we have our lid. Okay, and this I think is a 10 milliliter. And then we're going to need a few essential oils. All right, so we are going to need tea tree oil. We are going to need lavender. And we are going to need frankincense. So, brand new bottle. If you guys watch very often, you'll also know that when I have a big bottle like this, it always comes down to me trying to guess how many drops, because it just has a, if it has a big opening, then it's harder, excuse me for a second, then it is harder to measure after drops, because it just likes to pour. But guess what? Wasn't prepared with the plastic, but I am prepared today with my dropper, okay? So we have our essential oils, and then we're also going to need a carrier oil. You have a few options here. It's really up to your own personal preference. Again, do your research, find out what the different carrier oils are really good for. You can use fractionated coconut oil. You can use tamanu oil, which is what I'm going to be using today. This was just one I had on hand. I do have fractionated coconut oil, but it's off in another room, and I was being lazy. All right, so here's what we're going to do. We are going to start with our 10 drops of frankincense oil. So I'm going to go ahead and put that here in my So there's my frankincense. All right, and then I'm going to do 10 drops of tea tree oil. Okay. So I have 10 frankincense, 10 of the tea tree, and now I'm going to do 5 lavender. And if you are on here often, you know that I love lavender. So this is exciting. Okay, so I had 5 drops. So again, I had 5 drops of lavender and 10 drops each of tea tree and frankincense. So now, I doubt you'll be able to see it on there, but I have about that far up of my essential oils, okay? So I have all this rest of the way go. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my carrier oil and I'm gonna fill it the rest of the way up. So fill it up to about the top of the bottle there, okay? If you have a little funnel, this is where you might actually want to use one, just so you won't make a mess, but you know me, living life dangerously. All right, look at that, no mess. What a day we're having today. All right, so I have my essential oils, I have my carrier oil. It does have a smell, especially if you use that tamanu. I feel like it has kind of a smell. Not a huge fan of it. It's not terrible by any means. It's just, it does have a little bit of a smell. So I'm going to put on the roller. Go ahead and put on my lid. Now I'm going to roll it up in my hands like this. Some people do shake their rollers. I'm sure that somebody out there is going to tell you you should do it one way or the other. I don't really know. I just do it this way. All right, so get all of that mixed together and you have it set. So wake up in the morning, oh, great, you have a pimple. All you have to do is go in, wash your face, get it all clean, and then go ahead and roll it on, all right? Tea tree oil is really, really great for acne. But like with every essential oil, you need to be careful because it really is a strong thing. And so I do know some people, I remember when I first started learning about oils, that was one of the first things that I looked up was what can I do for acne, for blemish spots, right? And somebody said that they'll just get some tea tree oil on their finger and put it on. It worked great for them, and I'm glad. But you need to be careful, right, because of how strong it is. So when you have that carrier oil in there, it helps kind of, not dilute it, but it helps to lessen how powerful it is going straight onto your skin, all right? So as always, I recommend put a label on here, all right? So put a label, say what this is, and the essential oils that you put in. You can even put the amounts. I didn't say that with our toner, but I would go ahead and mark it now. For this one, I would mark the date, what it is, all right? And then the reason you want that date is because you want that to sit for 4 to 6 weeks. So that way you can remember, you know, oh, I started it then, count up 4 or 6 weeks, know when to straighten it, okay? That's it. These are 2 ways that you can take care of your skin, that you can help some common problems that people may have. These are 2 great natural ways to help with that. As always, do your own research, find out what works best for you. Let me know what you guys find out. If you try these 2 things, I want to know how it works. Let me know how it goes once you strain out your vinegar infusion here. I love roller bottles. This is really easy too. If you have, you know, a spot, you can throw it in your purse, you can throw it in your backpack, your bag, even your pocket, right? This is so small. And then run in and just touch it up. Lovely. All right.